incredible the energy that he has brought to this club. And first of all, I wasn't ever skeptical of Thomas Müller and his production in Major League Soccer, but his first couple of games, it was all, his production was all penalties. And I was thinking, come on, Thomas, I want to see more. I want to see more. And now I've seen more. And to be fair, Brad, there was only one time where I was ever at the bottom of that pile. And it was when I scored the game winner against Real Salt Lake back in, I think it was 2013, crazy game at Red Bull Arena. I got dogpiled. And I got to say, it was quite nice. I was never the one that was shown that much love because I don't score that many goals. But I felt pretty good about it. I think Thomas Müller, what he's added to that locker room, I liken it to a little bit about when Bastian Schweinsteiger came into Chicago, because different parts of the season, of course. But I was actually at a U.S. men's national team camp when he had his first couple training sessions. And I had seen the press conferences, and I texted a couple of guys on the side and just said, hey, what's the vibe with Schweinsteiger? And they just said, you would not believe how cool this guy is. You would not believe how thoughtful and generous he is about his time and about asking and trying to learn about everyone in the locker room, and just really the humility with which he came into the locker room and brought everyone together. I see a lot of similarities with Thomas Müller. Because there have been DPs, and we know this, Brad, there have been DPs that have come into the league and they have this kind of arrogance about them where they're a little bit maybe above the locker room and above the team. They're still good guys, but maybe they don't make as much of an effort. Thomas Müller, it's like the bromance with Sebastian Berhalter right now is amazing. Off the charts. It's like every post-game interview, they're doing it together. It's like they can't do one individually, right? And so everything you're hearing coming out of Vancouver, I love the shout from Weeby. I do think that they are a team that nobody wants to see in the postseason, specifically LAFC too.
They've got magic. I mean, to go to your point, and Brad, and then we'll get you on DPs that have influenced you that way. Did you see the moment at halftime with Thomas Müller and Ralph Priso, who's been asked now because of the center back issues for Vancouver to play in a different position? Müller finds him at halftime in the tunnel, wraps him up in a hug, and is talking him through stuff, literally holding his elbow. Imagine you're Ralph Priso, and you have Thomas Müller fully invested in your performance, your ability, your confidence, everything. And that goes outside of this dude's going fishing. He's going to the golf course. He's going to basketball games and hockey games with the boys. He's going to bars in Vancouver and asking them to put on Apple TV. He is the ultimate lad, Brad. I guarantee you and him, thick as thieves, bro. Thick as thieves. A pint or three and you're off and running.
He looks hard to hate.
Brad's way too boring for Müller. Müller would not want to hang out with Brad. That's a lie.
I'm not going to put my business out here live on YouTube, but that's a lie. You know I'm very fun. But that's the effect that you want from a DP. I think we often look at DPs, what they've done in Europe, and you just want numbers. You want bangers of goals. But what you're talking about with Priso, putting your arm around a player, that goes a long way in a dressing room. You don't want a DP that comes into your locker room that you're scared of, that you cannot talk to, that you don't want to hold accountable. You need those players that they can talk to you. They look in your face. They teach you every day on the training ground. And also when times are hard or when they're good, you have a real relationship with those kind of people. And that's why you see Vancouver even excelling more than they were before he got there. What a human being.